Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this new key, the key 24, the fourth one of the series of practice entitled Food. Alright, what is food? Fooding, actually it's quite easy, is the main source of your energy. Okay, it brings you energy, it brings you a combustible for you, some fuel for you to be in good health and also to have some energy, some vitality to do things and to live, basically. So, actually, one thing that most of people ignore is the fact that we use 30 to 50% of our energy through the food for digestion. Okay, so it's like if you had a factory of wood and you need half of your wood to cut the wood and also to burn the wood to make the machine working. It's the same principle, okay? To be frank with you, most of the time, in most of new society, the modern society, we eat too much in quantity, and the goal will be to try to see, to be aware, to have a certain awareness, a certain consciousness regarding food in general, and to know the intakes of what we eat. Okay, so consciously, probably more qualitative than quantitative. Okay, even if in a hyper consumerist society, everything is done for you to buy more, consume more, and so on. But as we say, as I say, excess makes less. Okay, so this is important to be aware about that. Well, what's the reason for being, and let's say the field of implementation, application is simple. The fact to be to eat properly allows you to be healthy, which is a common sense, right? But in addition of that, so it allows you for having a good connection with, let's say, your organs working well, and to be more capable to do things and so on. And in parallel of that, it brings you happiness as well. All right? If you always eat some junk food, too much fat, and so on, you have much more chance to be depressed and so on. You know, the awakening in the holistic approach, holistic meaning global, overworld, is a part of it. The way you eat impacts also your degree, your frequencies. Okay, so this is important also on your eternal path of inner gazing, inner, let's say, inner work, and also awakening process. Well, as Hippocrates said, so Hippocrates is the Greek philosopher and also the father of the modern, let's say, medicine. He say the natural force within us are the real and main healers. Okay, so what does it mean? And this is really linked to what we lost with Big Pharma and, to be frank and to be honest, the market of health. Okay, the fact that it is a business, and the approach previously was different, like Ayurveda in India, like traditional Chinese medicine. I say traditional, I mean in the past. They were more, they had a different approach. The goal was more to be preventive than curative. Preventive means if you have a good, let's say, way of living, good food, good hygiene, avoid excess and so on, you have less chances to have some disorder or some disease and so on. Okay, and the way of, let's say, healing are natural, let's say, tools also. This is the main difference. So the goal in this approach, the fact to eat properly allows you to avoid to be sick and to be stronger, and in parallel of that, more harmonious, more fulfilled, more happier. Okay, so this is really important part. So, and last point, so the reason for being of a good food, I mean, is the fact that it brings you happiness as well, pleasure, because depending on which culture, but it's just, it's nice, it's a pleasure to eat, okay? So This is a good moment, is a communion, is a way to share with people, or even individually. It's just a pleasure. Is physiological, but is also a way, an art of living, basically. Okay. Here in this video, we will not talk about nutrition, of course not. This is more, it's not a course of nutrition, it's just to give you, for you to be aware of the importance of food, proper food, and also for you maybe to start as a springboard to do your own research and your own, work with checking on internet and so on. So, 3 essential pillars regarding food. The first one is to have a balanced way of eating. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that you can eat everything, but to avoid excess. Okay, the proof is that if you garlic is good for health. If you eat 1 kilo of garlic, it will be bad for you. 1 glass of wine is good. 1 bottle is not. Okay, and you can see all the example like this. Okay, excess make less. Okay, so this is also important to have a large variety of food. Okay, because if you eat always the same, you only are focused on an ability. It's like doing always the same gesture, always the same, game or whatever, the same tactics. You're not enlarge your perspective. Okay, so it's very important to have a certain variety for food and also way of cooking as well. We will see some raw sometimes, also some low temperature and so on to rotate actually. And in a certain extent, this is what I'm saying here is the experience in real of the middle way, the middle path in practice. Okay, you can eat everything if you don't do any excess. Like this, you don't have any dependence or frustration. Well, if I have to give you some different examples, the first one is the fact that there is no miracle recipe, there is no miracle diets, only a miraculous adaptation. Okay, but one thing very important, as Leonardo da Vinci says, if you want to be healthy, listen and follow these diets. Always eat only if you want. Okay, so what does it mean? This is quite deep. It's useless to force yourself. If you have no appetite, maybe it's because your body asks you to do a break. Okay, we have some. We are imposed the society once we eat 3 times a day. Okay, this is a standard in Asia. They eat 6, 7 times less in proportion, and they are healthy. Okay, so it depends on the metabolism. In Ayurveda, the Hindu tradition, okay, Ayurveda means literally the science of life, but by extension we can say the art of living. Okay, so Ayurveda and Ayurvedic nutrition, concretely, it is based on the fact that there is not special miraculous recipe because it depends on the metabolism, depends on the blood type, it depends on the season, it depends on the moments of the age, it depends on the moment of the day, if it's the morning, the evening, and so on. So this is what is good for me. It is maybe not good for you and for him. And same for maybe something is good for me when I was a child and now is not good anymore. And same for in the future for another example. Okay, so this is important to consider that there is good adaptation only. So that's why it's important to investigate a little bit of your time to know what is good for you, but to feel as well. Okay, we are developing personal development, personal awakening for theory, but also for practice. If we want to develop intuition, to follow our guides and our inner higher self and to be aligned, it's important to listen to you, to listen to your body, the symptoms and so on. And that's why, if you don't feel it, if you are not hungry, squeeze a meal. That's not a big deal. You know, it's 6 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock, you're not hungry, it's 9 o'clock. Oh, finally, I feel tired. You go to bed, and no problem if you don't eat. Okay? No need to force yourself for that, for anything, by the way, but especially for that. Okay, so this is important. What he suggests, Leonardo da Vinci, to eat with will or to when you want, is also the fact to appreciate what you eat and to be aware of what you eat. Okay, if you eat garlic, you will have some special nutritional intakes. It's good for blood and so on. Okay, fine. If you know it now and you eat garlic, you will have even more positive effect. Why? Because you know it. It's a principle of somatic. Somatic, if you are aware of something, if you are convinced of the fact it will bring you positive aspect, it will bring you some positive aspect. And the contrary is nocebo. Okay, if you are convinced it's bad for you. That's why I told you there is nothing which is perfect. Okay, let's take two examples. If your tradition, your religion, your education say that a glass of wine, red wine, is, I mean, in general, alcohol is bad, okay? And let's say some scientists say they promote the fact to drink a glass of red wine per day, okay? But you're convinced that is not true, okay? So the one, and even if it's question of time, you can separate two twins, one twin in a family and they like this in a French family or Italian family, okay? And they like this, they practice that, is good for their health. And in another another family, for instance, adopted or separated, whatever, and with other education, for example, Muslim, or even the father had a problem with alcohol, so they completely ban it and they associate to bad things and so on. So the education he received, the guy, is this. When he eats, when he will drink that, it will affect him negatively. So that's the point. And even that, we're going to extend the vision of that. The fact that when you eat something with the consciousness of the nutritional intakes is affect you more, okay? It sounds to be weird, but it's a matter of fact, okay? So assimilation is somatic. One thing very important is what we recommend in nutrition most of the time is to eat every day let's say five vegetable and or let's say fruits. Okay, so it can be 3 vegetable and 2 fruits or vice versa. Okay, minimum. The thing is we never explain why. Essentially for two things. Two part is the nutrients and the enzymes. Nutrients, what is it? It is the nutritional intakes, the real efficient, let's say, fuel that you receive. Okay, why? Because, and this is an advice, if you exclusively eat industrial refined food, most of the time you don't have any fuel. It is not bringing you energy. It's full of sugar, and especially the prepared dishes. Okay, it's full of sugar. It's bad for your body, and in parallel of that, okay, you fulfill, but then you don't have. Let's take an example. You go to junk food and you eat 2 big sizes of big burger and so on. Okay, and then you finish like this. Okay, 3 hours later, maybe you will be hungry. Why? Because it's not consistent. It's not bringing you any type of energy. The meat is like plastic. The bread is, I mean, everything is artificial. There is no life inside. Okay, so food is life. Food is energy as well. We saw in the key 12 the fact that everything is energy. Okay, so if we go further by extension, even the fact to appreciate something will impact it. Okay, in the assimilation. That's why the American scientists, they realize, they talk about the French paradox. What was that? The fact that they just say, how come French people, they eat so fat with cream and so on, and why they don't have so much heart attack and heart problem. Okay, because they love. No, I'm kidding. No, actually, I just realized that the way of having the approach of food was different. It was in a nice atmosphere, nice context, and so on, and thereby the assimilation was different. Okay, in a positive way. Okay, if you eat like this and you just focus on your smartphone, on your TV set, and you are not in it, in the mindfulness of what you eat, you can be sure that it will not bring you as much, okay? Because the energy that you don't catch the energy of it in a certain extent. Even if a part of your body is doing, your mind doesn't, okay? So it's good as well. So the nutrients are very fundamental, paramount, okay? The enzymes are the little things cleaning your body, the natural way of cleaning your body. Okay, it's like it's taking out the toxin, and that's why it's important to have a maximum in the food. And if you have a good food, I mean, you have a good way of eating, normally you're never sick, almost never. Okay, we are well made, created to be resistant for 1 century, even more. Okay, it's because of our consumption, the quantitatively and qualitatively, which brings us most of the time in phenomenon of disease and so on. So also try to reduce the industrial food, because most of the time there is nothing inside, is even full of sugar and so on, is very bad for diabetes, okay? You know that diabetes creates, 10 millions of death every year, so it's one of the worst poison in the world. Refined sugar, same, try to avoid. Personally, I like it, candies and so on, but I try to refrain because it's bad. If you like, because most of us, this is the feminine part that we all have, the fact to finish a meal with sugar taste, take some fruits. Is fructose. Fructose is some sugar, but positive one. And if you can afford, try to do it half an hour after your meal, or ideally with an empty stomach. Okay, it's better. Like 1 hour later, it's better, because if you do it just after the meal, it's gonna create a chaos in your body. Okay. One thing important also I recommend is, the fermented vegetable. Okay, it can be cauliflowers, it can be whatever. It can be garlic, it can be tomato, it can be carrot and so on. Why? Because the way is not difficult to do it, but the way of preparing, actually, it can have good bacteria, and the good bacteria is allowing you to clean up also your body. Okay, so this is important also. The way you cook. Okay, so it's good to eat raw sometimes. Raw, what does it mean? It means not only salad, basic salad. It can be I don't know, tabbouleh. It can be whatever the type of cuisine or dish, but it's full of them. So raw. Why? Because actually, the way you're cooking, the temperature affects. That's why we recommend in Ayurveda to eat under 43 degrees Celsius. Okay, so in Fahrenheit, I think it's 70 something. I'm not sure. I'm sorry about that. 78, but I'm not sure. Bon, try to see an equivalence. So 43 degrees Celsius under. Why? Because if you exceed that, it's destroy the let's say the mechanism. Okay, the chemistry of the molecules of the nutrients. Okay, so that's why barbecue is not really recommended, and especially because it's super carbon. Okay, it's full of carbon. Is not good when it's dark. When it's black, it's not good for health. Okay, so it's the same for the way of cooking. If you can try to rotate in between, sometimes raw, sometimes medium cook, like 40 degrees if you can afford, and sometimes normal, of course. But and you can rotate. It means that you can have normal plus a side a bit of salad and so on, raw, and like this. You're not obliged systematically to be strict. Okay, it's important to have a good balance and the middle way in practice. Very important also to use organic food. Organic, I know what you're gonna think, and not everybody can afford it. It's a matter of fact, it's true, and unfortunately. But even if it's 20% more expensive or 30% more expensive, if you eat this type of food, you have more energy, and you don't need to you can reduce also your portions. You can reduce by 20%. So if it's 20% more expensive and you reduce 20% of your portion, you're flat, is equivalent. Okay? And in addition of that, you're healthier, and secondly, you're happier. Okay? So this is important to take into account. This is important also what we call the energy product. What is it? It comes from Canada. Okay? They just realized by some experience that if maybe some people will laugh about this, no big deal. If a gardener is talking or giving good attention to his tomato and so on, there is an impact on the energy of the vegetable. Maybe you are superstitious compared to this concerning that. So maybe you know, and I invite you to check on internet Masaru Emoto. Masaru Emoto experience, what is it? It's a Japanese scientist. He did an experiment, okay, with the water, okay. He crystallized water, and he checked with a microscope, and he saw the evolution according to 3 tests. The first one, I mean, the central one was a neutral, nothing special, just to compare. And the first one was a test with, you can do it by your own at home, with a glass of rice plus water, okay? And you give an intention, you say regularly every day bad words, okay? I hate you, I will kill you, and so on. And you will see it will become black, okay? If you check on internet with a microscopic vision, you will see that it is completely disharmonious pattern. And on the other way around, with a positive attention, it creates beautiful, harmonious, symmetrical design pattern, okay? Imagine everything is made of water. The ingredients you eat are made of water. The fruits are made of water. The vegetable, the fruits, even your body. That's why, you know, that's why I propose this key of transition with 30 keys to raise your vibration, your energy, because it's super important. We are made of 70% to 80% of water. So if you vibrate positively, if you always say, I'm happy, I feel good, thank you, I'm grateful, and so on, of course, your degree of the vibration through the support of your water, people feel it. Okay, this is good for your health, for the energy, and so on, and it's good as well. I mean, people can feel it. Okay, that's why some people, they are not necessarily handsome, pretty, and so on, but there's something you feel comfortable with them. Okay, and they attract everybody. Okay, why? For this reason. So, if it's true for your body, okay, Masaru Emoto experience, and if you give this attention when you are gardening and so on, actually it is affecting also the food. That's why, you know, when you prepare your own food, it's different, like a ritual is important to, and if it's the food of your garden, it's even better, definitely. And a lot of people are awakening in that sense. They just want to come back to the land, to the roots, to the where we are from, actually. Personally, my education was, my grandparents were peasant, like a lot of people in many countries in the world, the tradition. And when I was young, I was a little bit pissed off with that. I was not interested. My parents, they have some little garden in city, and they were enjoying like this, like leisure. For me, it was not, and now I really feel it. And here we have some tomato, we have some basil, we have mint, and so on. And it's so good also to be, I mean, to do it by your own. But it's good also to have a certain knowledge, not of all of them, but to have some basics that you can find on the internet, some really the most important ones. For example, garlic, if you like it, put everywhere in your food every day is excellent. Okay, garlic is excellent for blood, is excellent for limbs, is excellent for intestine, is excellent for kidneys, excellent for pancreas, for almost everything. So to know the basics, okay, those who are really, let's say fundamental or paramount ingredients that you need to have systematically. Okay, for example, if you want to have for the blood, if you have problem of blood, garlic is excellent, beans is excellent, kale is excellent, wheatgrass is excellent, cayenne pepper is excellent, red grapes is excellent. For lymph, asparagus, lettuce, lemon water, and so on. Gallbladder, if you have some problem, cucumber, lentils, tomato, watermelon, beans, avocado, and so on. Intestines, for instance, eggplants, papaya, chili pepper, dragon fruit, pineapple, and so on and so forth. So I can give you 1,000, but try to find on internet a list you can find easily. And this is important to be a little bit aware and to investigate a little bit of your time regarding that. Actually, I also recommend to avoid too much meats. Okay, some people love it and so on. And it's a matter of fact, it doesn't mean that you need to be vegetarian tomorrow, but at least to reduce your consumption for health condition and also for ecology. If everybody is eating meat like in States, we need dozen and more than 10 planets on Earth. Okay, so is it impossible? Okay, so just for you to visualize, for a steak of 1 kilo, you need 20,000 liters of water. Okay, without talking about the bad condition of the animals, because most of the time with our intensive way of appreciate word, we can say it's killed in bad conditions and is never good. You eat energy, okay? The meat you eat is energy. So if the animal has been killed with fear, with anxiety and so on, you will eat that, okay? And we know, by the way, that if he's unstressed and so, I mean, he's peaceful and so on when he's dying, the food, the meat is better, okay? So if you can afford, reduce your consumption of because it's better for health and for ecology as well. So 2 times, 3 times a week is enough, okay? It doesn't mean that you squeeze completely, but at least to see and to feel, to realize how you feel after that. Do the experience to do without for 1 week and you will see how you feel. Of course, it's go also to have some compensation of proteins and so on. You can have in many things, tofu and so on. But let's say to be aware about that, to have the good balance. That's why also, you know, for example, the ritual, kasher roots, halal and so on, they are supposed to be in the process of respecting life in general, life, living and so on. So when they kill animals with this ritual, they, in a certain extent, they are supposed to do it with a prayer, with a way for preserving the animals. When the shamans, and I went to a shamanic retreat in Mongolia a few years ago, 5 years ago, the shaman explained that in Mongolia, you can imagine there is 9 months of snow, so the main way of eating is a potato and meat. Okay, it's really limited. So they talk to the animals. They just say, okay, we need that to survive and so on. And they talk, and this is kind of sacrifice and in a respect of the process of life. So this is different. Otherwise, when you eat a plastic meat in a very cheap restaurant and so on, of course, you will eat some hunger, some fear and so on, and it's never good for your energy and also for the assimilation. When you eat meats, you need a lot of energy to digest, and it affects your health in general. Okay, so, but to compensate, once again, the goal is not necessarily that you go for veg tomorrow, is not the point. It's just you are aware about that, and also you listen to your body, your intuition regarding what you feel. Okay, this is important also to parameter differently the fact that if you eat more, let's say raw, if you eat more vegetable, fruits and so on, is not a punishment, is not tasteless and so on. If you have different things like lemon and so on, you can preserve the amazing taste buds effect. It's just a question of imagination, creativity, and you can have also a lot of tuto for free on internet and so on of credible people who are proposing very beautiful recipe. Why? Because preparation of recipe, preparation of your gardening and so on is bring you happiness as well, basic happiness, mindfulness and so on. And the more you do that, and the more you feel radiating, basically. I invite you also regarding, water, to drink, as we recommend, 2 or 3 liters of water, but also it is halfway. Okay, it's if you are just doing that, you don't have enough. Vegetable, fruits brings you as well this. So this is really important to take into account. Avoid to eat in between the different meals, to eat regularly at the same time. This is good also, and avoid to eat 2 hours before sleeping. It affects the quality of your sleep, and also it's really bad for the digestion in general, and you will get fat much more easier and faster. Well, it's really important and funny in the notion of the resonance, because there is many ingredients who have the same shape than the organs affecting positively them. I give you an example. The walnuts, when you see it, looks like a brain and is good for brain. If you see a carrot, when you cut it, it's like an iris. It's good for eye. Grape, when you see, it's good for lungs. Tomato, when you cut it, it's like a heart and it's good for heart. Ginger is good for stomach and it looks like. Figs is good for scrotum. Okay, citrus is good for breath. Sweet potato is good for pancreas, for example, and systematically it looks like. Kidney beans is good for kidneys. Okay, bones. Sorry, the celery is good for bones, or the mushroom is good for hearing. The avocado is good for uterus, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can see that life is well done, and it is interesting to perceive it like this, but to be at least a little bit aware of their capacity to help you and to bring you. This is in the preventive way. In the curative way, no need necessarily, when you have the reflex, when you have an headache, no need necessarily to go to big pharma and to take a pill. Okay, there is a lot of good recipe to avoid that. And as long as you know some of them, you don't need anymore, and you clean, you heal by your own. Okay, and also in preventive, you have less chance to be sick. I give you, for instance, 10 plants cleaning and explaining what it cleans. Rosemary, for example, it's heal cough. Okay. For instance, origo is good for menstrual cramps for women. Dill is good for gastrointestinal disorder, for instance. Cayenne pepper is good for congestion. When you are always tired, garlic is good as a booster, or let's say orange, or also coriander. Mint is good for stomach cramps and also for digestion. That's why Arabic country, they used to drink hot water with mints after the meal. And if you like also, you can have mint in your 100 bottle of water. It's very good. Or even lemon. Lemon also facilitates also the assimilation and the digestion. Parsley is good when you feel a little bit full, too much full. It's good for that. The basil is good when you are depressed, or the turmeric is good for the problems of joints. Okay, and turmeric, if you want to increase the values, I invite you to add some black pepper. This is activating much more, so it's more important. If you have nausea, okay, vomit feeling, ginger is excellent for that. Okay, so you have plenty of that. I just want you to be aware. It's just as a springboard for you to be more aware of the fact that eating is life and brings you also happiness. And this is one of the milestones of the awakening path, which is eternal. Well, I invite you to do also different tests. The one to close your eyes when you eat alone, no need to talk, just to really feel the taste buds exploding. First test. Second test, to eat with hands, and also like mindfulness, to do the test to check one by one each sense that you activate: touching, hearing, eating, of course, and so on. Okay, the smell and so on, just to be really in it. It's really tremendous, and it creates a kind of incredible moments. I really invite you to practice mindfulness when you eat sometimes. And actually, this is important for you to fragment the different moments of eating. You put in your mouth, you chew, okay, the taste bud, then you swallow, then the assimilation, and then the satiety, okay, when you feel full. To fragment then, and to be aware of the process, which is the process of life, basically. All right, I invite you to do the test for the different techniques, the different advice, to do your own research as well. This is, food is one of the key for you to shape your own master key and to open up the doors of consciousness that you want. And as you know now, all the roads lead to Rome and to home. Thank you for your attention, and see you soon.